Hey there, thanks for clicking on my video, and today I'm going to talk about my ADHD journey. Uh, I'm 45 years old, and about a month ago I was diagnosed with ADHD. So this is extremely fresh. I just started taking medication for it about 2 weeks ago because after I got the diagnosis, I went through some genetic testing and some blood testing, and we started to find a medication that could work for me through looking and analyzing the tests, my genetic test and blood tests. And so I've been about 2 weeks on medication now. It's called Concerta, and I have to say, since I've started this medication, it has definitely helped me. I still drink a lot of coffee. I'm not drinking as much. I feel like I don't even want to drink that much coffee, really. But I just such a habit from years and years of drinking coffee that I'm just used to it. And I think it'll be a matter of like time where I'm going to kind of get off drinking so much coffee and maybe substitute it for something else. So like I've kind of told you a lot just now, but kind of the rest of the story is me, my 7-year-old son, getting diagnosed with ADHD about a year ago. And when my wife and I were sitting with the therapists discussing kind of what was going on, my wife actually was the one who started to say, Armando, it sounds like Armando. This sounds like Armando. It sounds like Armando. And I was very like, doesn't sound like me. And I was very like defensive, and I was actually defensive for my child also. I was very sort of like anti-ADHD, like anti-medication. I've been like that for many years, and it wasn't until I started to take it a little more seriously and like get an actual full-blown psychiatric evaluation on myself, I started to kind of look at things differently, and I started to watch a bunch of YouTube videos and learn about ADHD, and I've really come around. I've really looking at it a much different way. I'm not so anti-medication. I'm not so anti, diagnosis, and I'm starting to kind of go the other way, where I'm feeling like very much pro-diagnosis and pro-medication because of what I've learned so far about ADHD. And it's not what you think it is. I've watched literally like hours and hours of YouTube videos about ADHD, and so it's going to be hard for me to kind of say everything that I've learned in just a couple minutes. I would encourage you, if you think you might have it, or you think you might have some other kind of mental disorder going on, I would encourage you to get a full psychiatric evaluation and do it with someone who's licensed, who has the training, who kind of does this type of stuff for on a regular basis. Because I also see a therapist one-on-one, and my therapist doesn't have the training to do evaluations, and she doesn't have the training to prescribe medication either. So we had kind of chatted about it with my therapist, and she wasn't ready to give me a diagnosis, but she would encourage me to get an evaluation, and I was like, when I get around to it. I wish I would have done the evaluation like much sooner, like as soon as I heard about it. Honestly, I wish I wasn't so closed-minded about it. I wish I wasn't so like anti-medication and anti-this and anti-that, because since I've gotten the diagnosis and since I've been learning more about it, and since I started the medication, my life internally and even externally has improved, very gradually. Like we were really scared at first because we had a friend who her husband took medication, and we were kind of nervous at first with medication. I was kind of nervous at first with medication because I also am a recovering alcoholic. I've been sober 20 years, and I did experiment with drugs as well. So I kind of have that history of addiction, and I was nervous to get on medication. I don't want to, spark a relapse, and so but I was very upfront, and I told my the person evaluating me, and I told people in my program of recovery about it, and I was very open with the medication and stuff. But we did have a friend though who was very kind of like scaring us about it, and saying how she had someone in her life who was developing a really serious habit, and they were doing taking Adderall, and kept like increasing the dosage and increasing, and it was getting a little ridiculous, and she was really concerned, and so that did kind of scare me. And it turns out though, like after I did my genetic testing, that Adderall is not the right medication for me, and I'm doing a medication called Concerta. And right away that first day, things kind of changed for me. I've also struggled with sleep. So, I've been really the last couple of weeks working hard on going to sleep early, and I'm just a night owl. I'm used to staying up late, and you can see I have a short where I'm up at like 2 a.m. working on this studio. So, I've been staying up late for many years, and so it's been a challenge, but I have been getting more sleep. And I got a diagnosis from a nurse practitioner who is also licensed in psychiatry. And so I didn't go to an actual psychiatrist. And I have another friend who was telling me I should go to an actual psychiatrist and this and that, and all I did was I just Googled, I looked at all these profiles on Psychology Today, watched some videos, looked at some of their background, some of their experience. I reached out to a few. The one that I ended up talking to and getting the evaluation from was the fastest to respond. And, and I really wanted to kind of attend to this. She did definitely, say I did have ADHD. And, when we took the genetic test, there was a test that, tested the dopamine levels in my frontal cortex, and my dopamine levels were very low. So she's like, this is a, telltale sign of having ADHD. And so, the more I've learned about it, the more I've kind of like really taken in the diagnosis. I've learned that it is some big, pieces of information that I've picked up is that I've learned that, it's not what you think. I used to think, I'm hyperactive, and I'm, like a child, and I can't control myself, and that's not really what it is. In adults, it's more of a executive function disorder is what they call it. So executive function is where you have to perform like tasks, daily tasks. Like, for me, I have to write up contracts, for customers, and I would really, like, for a long time, I have struggled with contracts, like, big time. And I've always just chalked it up to, like, well, I just struggle with contracts, and, I have a hard time, concentrating on that. And I've also, there's been many things. I mean, I've been a procrastinator for many years, and when I was in college, I would pull all-nighters to get things done, because if it was due, like, I would wait till the last minute, and I had to write, a paper and do the next day. And like, if I didn't have the paper, then I would, be in some hot water with the class. So I would stay up all night and do it, but I would wait till the last minute. And that's a telltale sign of ADHD. It was kind of funny when I was talking to my wife, because because it's like it's a dopamine level thing. And dopamine is what kind of gives you joy, and gives you kind of like dopamine, like it gets released when you enjoy something, and so when I have to do a task that I don't enjoy, I have no dopamine for it, and I just won't do it. And when I do, but there are other tasks that I do enjoy, like learning photography, learning video, and I would like study and work hard and like, figure out the camera and figure out the settings and be on my computer, and like I can concentrate on that because I was getting the dopamine I needed for that. But as soon as it came time to like, go back to work and like go through our, financial statements, like I'm like, I do not want to do that. And I would just kind of put that off, which again causes problems. And so, it's kind of interesting how with ADHD, adult ADHD, like you have a really hard time doing things that you do not enjoy. I think we all have that. We all don't want to do things that we don't enjoy. But when you have ADHD, it's just that much more. And you like won't, it's like painful to do almost. It's almost like internally like torturous to do it. And I would put myself through that pain. I would like to do like contracts, like different things that I want to do, and make sure all the surroundings were right. I'd make sure the time was right. I'd make sure exactly I had this cup of coffee here. I'd have a soda water here, and then I'd start working and take like a break in 10 minutes, take another break in 10 minutes, and and like in the last couple of weeks, like it's just not like that. Since I started medication, I just like it's not. I don't think about it. It's like, oh, I've got to do a contract. I just jump on my computer and I start working on it, and and I finish it, and then I send it off, and then I'm like done. I'm like, oh, I'm done. Well, what do I do now? And then I just kind of like move on to the next thing I have to do, and I'm just like moving on from thing to thing, and I'm really getting things accomplished, which is like pretty amazing, and I'm really excited about that. So again, I'm 2 weeks in. I'll kind of end the video here. I'm going to keep making these videos about my ADHD journey, my mental health journey, and yeah, I hope you keep watching. I hope you like. If you did like, please, like the video. It really helps me out. It really just gives me a little motivation so I keep making these videos. And also, subscribe to the channel if you like what you see so far. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.